Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. And this is their podcast, Couples Synergy.
Welcome back to another episode of Couples Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean. And this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Be sure to check us out online on our Facebook page and Instagram at Couples Synergy or our website, couplesynergy.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. And now on to Couples Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experience helping thousands of couples transform their relationships for nearly 20 years.
You know what, Ray?
What?
Everyone says you should work on your relationship, but nobody teaches us how.
No, they don't.
So we've created this podcast to teach people what they can do to create the relationship they've always dreamed of with the partner
they fell in love with. And it is needed even more so now than ever before.
Yeah. You know what you get when you squeeze an orange.
Whatever's inside.
Yeah.
And
you never get pineapple juice.
No, and we are definitely all under a huge, major squeeze. And you know what's interesting about this? It is global. It's global. It's all around the entire world.
Feels very different out there. You know what's interesting? A lot of people ask us, how do you guys work together?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you know what I've noticed is I see you the least when we work together.
Because we're behind closed doors, we're meeting individually with our clients, and
we're working on our laptops or something like that.
Right.
But we are still usually in the same room, so that part's not much of a shift for us. But a lot of people, that's scary to them to be with their partner all the time.
And they are now.
They are now. They are in the pressure cooker of life.
Couples, families, they are being challenged in so many ways. Just in communication alone.
Yeah.
Right? Being in the same space. Also, you know, there's that fear and anxiety and worry that's just going on in the back of your head. You know, that's just sitting there. But on top of that, it's trying to fill the time. It's trying to communicate in different ways, finding new activities to do when you're in the house together and you can't leave.
You know, it sounds a lot like what we talk about how when your life gets into a pattern and you get stuck in a rut and you're running your program, and now that has been completely disrupted.
It has, yeah.
100%. It's been disrupted for people's kids. It's disrupted for both of them. And really scarily, people who are working really hard. And some people aren't working at all. Some people have money issues. Some people have timing issues, all sorts of different things. But all these things are the birthplace of the new.
Whatever that new is going to be.
That's the part we don't know. And I think the important thing is we have some choice over this. We have a choice over how we are going to respond. Like today, we are alive. And if we're not tomorrow, then we're not tomorrow, but we are today. And so what are we going to do with our day?
It really helps you kind of take a microcosm approach to life.
Yeah.
Right? Just really looking at the moment and not really focusing on what's to come, because we don't know.
Nope.
That uncertainty is something that everyone feels.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And we don't like it.
Right. There isn't anyone out there that's going to be able to give us the answers of what is to come. I mean, they're scrambling, right? Our government, state, everyone is scrambling to try to figure that out and find out, and making all these speculations and, you know, giving statistics and, you know, working off of other countries and their statistics. But in the end, we really don't know what is around the corner. You know,
or how far away is the corner?
Or how far away is the corner, right?
Yeah.
And so we're all living in this like limbo land right now.
You know, I just wanted to say that some of the things that we've been doing to try to play our part and help the people that we work with is every morning at 10 a.m., we are doing live meditation on our Facebook page, Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean.
Yeah, you should check it out.
The last 7 days, we've been doing the 7 days already,
Right.
are up there. You can listen to them, but join us. There's something really powerful about unity. Another thing someone is doing is muscle activation.
In Schaumburg.
Julie and Charlie Cates, they're doing daily workouts. They're personal trainers, and I just saw their thing where they're like, we're just closing our business, locking the door. Well, I'm not sure when we'll be back, that feeling. And the other thing that we're doing is every Tuesday at 10:30 and every Friday at 5, we're gathering on Zoom.
We are providing a free support group for anyone out there that is, worrying, that feels anxiety about the situations that are going on around us, and they just want to come together and receive some support.
Because you know what the worst thing for anxiety is?
To be alone in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be stuck in your head, to be stuck in your home, all of it, right? So isolation and too much time to think. So, I think we've created our own new structure for the day, right? We get up and we do our meditation. We'll have some breakfast. At some point, we'll go for a hike. And, we always go out for our hikes, and we drive to some place, some
Just to
trail.
get some fresh air.
Some fresh air, some different scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can sort of see what's open, what's not open, the differences of things that are out there. So I think that adds a lot. If we stayed indoors 24/7, even though it's 30 degrees outside, it's still worth hiking.
Yeah, we're very active people. And so all the things that, we could do or used to do are not available. We can't go and restaurant hop or, bar hop or, just go and check out like a movie or, whatever that is, those opportunities, those avenues are closed now.
Yeah.
Right. So challenging yourself in different ways is going to take a lot of creativity.
One thing I would highly recommend too, especially if you have any anxiety producing thoughts, is give yourself some electronic free time. It's really important that you don't just sit in front of a screen and bombard yourself with all of the unanswered questions, and we bought a bunch of books right before we knew this was coming.
Right.
So we have books we're reading. I think that I'm going to do a puzzle later. We've painted. We should probably declutter. That doesn't seem like as much fun yet. We'll get bored soon and start doing that. But, much more physically moving things in your home that you can do. Playing games with your partner or your kids. Coloring. Coloring's a great de-stressor. Right.
I was just thinking about that friend of ours who she was going to go do a puzzle and the piece dropped out and her dog ate the puzzle piece. So she's like, oh, well, I guess we're done.
Because I don't know if you've ever done a puzzle, but that's horrible to get done and you got one piece
missing. Yeah.
It's a terrible feeling.
Right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, about that electronic piece, you cannot go anywhere online without having some notification about COVID-19.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you want to get information, get information. But if you don't want to be inundated with it, it's really important for you to just kind of unplug for a while and like set aside time where you're not really being flooded with all of it.
Mm-hmm. Any type of thing you can create is going to help you feel better too. Bake a pie or bake bread.
You got all the supplies for baking a pie.
I haven't baked in a long time because it's not so good for our health, but if we run out of food, we're going to baked goods.
I'm thinking this is a time to fatten up, to stay healthy and strong. Yeah.
Laughter is really good for your immune system, and having fun and interacting and socializing are really good. We actually had a virtual party.
We did. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So from time to time we have, parties down here in our home pub, and we had a virtual party last Friday night, That was fun. We had about 30 people show up on a virtual call. And that was very unique.
Yeah.
Never done that before.
Nope. And it lasted almost 5 hours.
Yeah.
Where different people were coming on the call and leaving and talking to each other and listening to Gina Gonzalez. So that's another thing. The musicians
In Chicagoland area.
Yeah. They obviously are out of work, and a lot of them are hosting concerts from their home. And you can go on there and you can request songs and you can support them by tipping them, which we did several times for Gina this weekend. And you were listening to a few others. Do you remember the website for that?
Okay, yeah. The website or Facebook group actually is called Chicagoland Musicians Facebook Live Broadcast Calendar.
Fabulous.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah, it is.
Chicagoland Musicians Facebook Live Broadcast Calendar. And this musician, Brian Kovacs, he has put together this group. And it's wonderful. Like all of these Chicagoland musicians coming together and, doing these live shows. And he's got the schedule and, of all of their performances. It's very innovative.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome because that's really what we all need to be doing right now is adapting.
Right.
Adapt and overcome.
Another thing that you can do is there are plenty of story type podcasts, right? Like This American Life or something like that. Sit around with your kids and listen to a story.
Yeah, that would be good.
That
would be a great way to just, kind of take your mind off of things and, and enjoy the time with your kids.
Yeah. Oh, the other fun thing that we did. My sister, she went on a hike on Saturday morning. And she said, "Hey, have you ever taken a hike at Coral Woods?" And I said, "No, we've never been there. We're going to go check it out." And we went in the afternoon. And before we left, I had this idea that what if we left a little treasure there for the kids? She's got 3 kids, an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old, 3 kids. And so I put a few things in a bag, and we hid it in the forest. And of course, we took pictures so we know where it is, but we made a little roadmap for them to find it. So on Wednesday, so that's the period of time, 72 hours, where any virus that may or may not be on those little toys will be dead by then.
Yeah, we sprayed it with Lysol anyway.
And that too. And then they can go find it. So it's a way to stay connected without actually seeing them. And I think that's a really fun idea. So if you are someone that celebrates Easter, that would be a cool thing that you can do. If you have grandkids somewhere or nieces and nephews that you can't see, go hide some things around their parents' house, like in the backyard. And then when Easter comes, they can go out and look for stuff.
Right. It was a really interesting phenomenon on Thursday. Last Thursday was the spring equinox.
Yeah.
Which is also Persian New Year. Mm-hmm. Right. And it was the first time that my family and extended family celebrated Persian New Year virtually.
Yeah.
Right. Because my parents are elderly and we don't want to be around them. We don't want to inadvertently infect them. And so we're all on this Zoom call.
Yeah.
And, our kids down in Texas, our kids in D.C., my sister and her family in Bolingbrook, and, my other sister, within 30 minutes of us, and my parents. So it's like we're all coming together. And it was really a very strange experience, to do that. It's also kind of, there's a double message here too, and that is, Persian New Year is the new year for Iran, and Iran is really suffering right now. They have so many cases and so many deaths, and they're not really responding to this whole crisis very well. And so I think when I said earlier that this is a global problem, a global pandemic that we all are sharing in here. I think we really need to, work on sending that positive message out into the world. And this podcast is reaching many countries in the world as well. We have a following in over 50 countries, and that's really awesome that we can get our message of positivity and peace and hope out to anyone out there that might be listening to this and might be, sitting at home and worried and, around their family?
One thing I would say is have a really serious talk with your partner. Talk about what's working for you guys, what's not working for you guys, what makes you happy, what you're frustrated about, and really take some time to decide, how would we really like it to be? Who do we want to be as people in the world? How can we support each other to be those people? And what do we want for the us? What are some bigger goals that we have? Because things that we used to take for granted last month, traveling to any country we wanted to, we can't do that anymore.
Going to any restaurant or bar that you wanted to. And
Yep.
Gathering, events,
Yep.
all of that.
Even getting supplies.
Sure.
And so all those things make you bring everything really close to home and close to the heart. And so sit down and have that conversation and prioritize what's really, really important to you right now, what you want for your family and what you want to be and do in this world. Because one thing I'm noticing is the things that I thought were fun to have or important or added value to my life really don't.
Yeah, this could be really a period of reevaluation, for you, your partner, and your family. And, in other past podcasts, we've talked about a common vision and how that's really important for couples to figure out, their future and where they want to go and what they want to create. And that's really what, Gina's talking about here is sitting down and reevaluating where you're at, what's important to you, and recreating that common vision so that the two of you and your entire family, when we get out of this, that you will be already set in the right direction that you want to head in.
If you find yourself looking at your partner like they're a stranger, they probably are, which means that you both have evolved as human beings, but not as a couple. And do yourself a favor and don't shut that door so quick. Maybe relax into that and just get to know your partner for who they are today. You can always decide to quit a relationship, but why not give it another day or month or whatever?
Or in this case, 15 days.
Who knows how long it's
Right.
going to be. But, when we're scared and when things are uncertain, the first thing we do is we look at our partner like they should do something. And if they can't, we look at them like they did something wrong to us.
Well, it's a natural reaction to blame your partner if you're feeling uncomfortable or in pain, even if your partner didn't cause it.
Right. And what we know about couples is there's so much not being said that is causing more problems than anything that's being said. And so have that tough conversation. You're stuck together anyways. They're not going anywhere.
Whether you like it or not.
I mean, be careful with each other. That's important. But also speak your truth. Find a way to speak your truth, because this could be the beginning of a really great new chapter of your life, regardless of what's going on in it.
And realize that there's going to be increased conflict.
Absolutely.
That is to be expected, and it is normal. All right? And that just means that there is an opportunity for growth. For the two of you to sit down, to find that middle ground, to argue through it, and to get to another place on the other end where you are both united and you are both on the same page with each other.
It'd probably be a really good idea for each of you to take a solo walk and just spend some time with yourself, really thinking about what's working in your life, what's not working in your life, what makes you happy, what dreams got put on the back burner that are not getting fulfilled, and where your life has been overrun. We interviewed Dana being Dana today, and that's what she said. She said, I'm a really busy person, and this is making me slow down. And I feel that too. We have plenty of work we can do from our home. We're still doing sessions with clients virtually and by phone. We're still doing our podcast. We're still running 2 companies.
Yeah, and all of the staff at the Lighthouse, they are still seeing clients virtually as well. And so, counseling is a much needed thing right now. It's just the fact that we've had to transition to all virtual sessions.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity. And what Jean's talking about here is almost like a mini walkabout, right? Is taking some time for yourself and, settling in and figuring out where you begin, where you end.
And then you'll have something to bring to that conversation with your partner. One other thing I've noticed is that, like with our staff, we've met virtually like twice already this week, like last week. And normally we meet once every other week. But we have a lot of decisions to make, and we want to make sure our staff knows we support them and that we're staying really connected so that they can be there in turn to support their clients and be positive and upbeat because, the Lighthouse Emotional Wellness Center, which is our first company, it's a beacon. And I can't think of any other storm that you would need a lighthouse in that is greater than this one.
This is it. This is a big one.
And we have to keep that light shining, which means, you and I support each other. We support our families. We support our staff. And then we can support the community. That's another thing. If you are feeling anxious or even depressed and isolated, there's ways to reach out. One of my clients posted something that her mother is in a nursing home, and the nursing homes, they're not allowed to have visitors. But what they can do is you can set up a virtual visit with people in nursing homes. The nurses have the iPads and iPads.
Yeah.
And they go around, and they could find someone who hasn't had a visitor, and your family could just sit and chat with them for a little bit. And whenever you give out like that, it fills you up. Whenever you're worried about what's coming in, it makes you really depressed. Find someone to help. You can always make a sign and put it in your window to cheer people up who are driving by.
Yeah, absolutely. Our neighborhood is doing, for St. Patrick's Day, they had count the shamrocks that were in the windows. And so the kids would, walk around the neighborhood and do almost like a treasure hunt, scavenger hunt kind of thing. And now they're doing it with teddy bears, and so you can organize things like that. And it really helps build up that positivity. And I have to say, I've been amazed at how much of that goodwill has been going around.
Absolutely.
Right. And companies and people stepping up to the plate. Our good friend Andrew at Copper Fiddle in Lake Zurich is a distillery. And, he had to shut down. Yeah. Right? The Governor Pritzker has shut down restaurants and bars. And, so what is he going to do? He's going to continue to make his product, be able to provide it for people if they come and drive up, curbside service. But then also he created a hand sanitizer for first responders.
Which is made of alcohol. And he's in the alcohol business. And, if you want a worthwhile cause, he is looking for donations just for supplies. He's not, needing to make a profit on this or anything, but you can go to his Facebook page.
Yes, Copper Fiddle Distillery, yes.
In Lake Zurich, and, make a little donation to support. I think the big thing is they're not able to sanitize the ambulances, and so this alcohol spray is a really quick way between people to disinfect it.
Absolutely, right. And to kind of full disclosure and let you guys know, we don't make any money on this podcast.
No.
And we don't make any money on, promoting any of these other companies that we're talking about here. And we don't make any money on doing the virtual meditation or the free support groups. I mean, all of that service and all of those, things that we're trying to do to help our community is all from the goodness of our heart, right? It's all based on our life's work in trying to help people.
Well, they say there's no such thing as true altruism because you can't possibly give without receiving. And I know that every time we're meditating, we're getting some feedback that someone says, I needed that today. I feel great. It makes me get out of my own head about what the future might be and just go, you know what? Our hearts touched another heart today. And that's why we do the work we do to begin with. And I love the fact that people who really love what they do, they're still doing it and not getting paid. And that's the companies we're talking about. like muscle activation. They're working out, and that's what they do. That's their passion. They're still bringing that to people. And I love that. And that's another thing that you see in this time of being squeezed is what comes out is what's inside. And it's wonderful, I think, opportunity to be creative and figure out how do you show up for another human being when you can't see them. Well, I guess you could see them virtually, but you can't be.
Well, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, no. And you can reach people that you've never met. And sometimes that's the best because you never know when someone's really down and out. You might just be that little thing that helps them get over that edge and get back to having their feet on the ground. And, I see that. I see it somewhat virtually, but I see it all the time in reality, right? In reality, you see a lot of people that care. We go out and hike. And even though we may do a good 20-foot, circle around another couple that's out there or something, we're still like, hey, how you doing? And I think just that little human interaction, it just brings a lot of joy and makes, I would say selfishly, makes us better people, makes us feel good and keeps us healthier and out of the what ifs.
Yeah, I think if there's anything that this coronavirus has created, right, it's this ability and desire to reach out to your fellow man and woman and just be there as a support for each other. We've connected with people that we haven't been talking to on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's just bonding people more and more. And if you feel isolated, there are so many people out there that are willing to connect with you. We'll connect with you.
Yeah.
Right? Send us an instant message on our Couple Synergy page. Send us a DM on Instagram. And send us an email.
Yeah.
contact@couplesynergy.com. We will absolutely reach back out to you and connect with you if you need that support.
I think so far we've gone back 5 years and tried to directly connect with every client we've had for the past 5 years to see if they're okay and if they need anything. And they're responding back, and it's great to hear from them. People that, when you do this kind of work, it sort of doesn't end officially. They just sort of stop coming in because they feel better. And you don't know what happens to them. And it's so good to hear people out there doing well and living their lives, and to connect again would be great. Come on one of those virtual calls. Oh, another very important thing that we're also offering is for people that are in recovery. So, if you are an AA person and you can't get to a meeting because we can't gather anymore, we are having virtual recovery support on Sundays at 3 p.m. And if you go to Lighthouse Emotional Wellness Center's Facebook page, you can get the links to all of these groups that we're doing.
Yeah, that is a really awesome group. That is therapist-led. And, there's a psychoeducation piece and also a process piece to it. So it really is going to be able to provide the support that, someone may not be able to have right now.
So, and of course, our favorite method of soothing and lowering anxiety and depression is affection.
Yes.
And when we get scared or when we get angry, we tend to withdraw. And make sure, especially with your kids, for sure with your partner, because then you have something to give your kids. Make sure you're holding them. I know they're nervous and scared. I know someone on our staff is working on putting together some groups for kids as well, just to kind of socialize online through this stuff, and a little platform to give them some tools that they can do to work through that. That's upcoming still.
Well, I know one of our staff members, she went shopping with her kid, and her kid saw these people, a lot of people with masks on,
Mm-hmm.
and she started having a really hard time. And so, we know that if our staff member and their family is being affected by this, that there are children out there that are really worried. This is a huge shift and change in their life routine, and they don't really know what to make of it, right? We saw the other day, in the street, there was a family, a a husband and wife, and they were embracing their child, and their child seemed to be really upset.
Yeah.
And was going through a very difficult time. We don't have the answers for them to reassure them. And so this time right now is more important than ever, just to show that affection to them. Show that affection within your family. Really embrace them, hold them.
Cuddle up. These times remind me of Viktor Frankel's book, Right Man's Search for Meaning. And in there, he was in several concentration camps.
It was in Auschwitz.
Yep,
specifically. Yeah.
During the Second World War. And he said, a human being can get used to anything. He says, I don't know how we do it, but we can. And he goes on to talk about the conditions he was living in, which are tremendously worse than what we are going through right now.
Death and destruction all around, yeah.
Starving, violence, turning on each other, isolation. He would seek comfort, daydreaming about his wife. And he found out later she had already died. We are in a really great place because even though we're isolated, it's so easy to connect and know how people are doing out there. And, we have a lot to be grateful for. This is the best case scenario we could possibly be in. The thing that united us, which has made the entire world sick, is also still uniting us to help us get well through staying connected and supporting each other and reaching out. And the only people you're not really virtual with are the people in your home, right? Those are the people that's really, really real, probably a little too real right now. And, make sure you guys sit down and have some good boundaries. Maybe there needs to be quiet time in the house and personal time and different people taking walks at different times or something like that to give each other some space.
And just different corners of the house that you can retreat to get some of that personal time too.
Yeah. If it would stop snowing in Chicago.
Oh, gosh.
You can go outside and make a fire and get some fresh air. I'm really looking forward to the frogs waking up again. We're close.
I'm just looking forward to being able to sit on the deck and not freeze to the bone.
Yeah. That sounds lovely. So, we're here. Hang in there. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll do what we can to help, no matter what it is.
We are offering, or through the Lighthouse, we are offering counseling services 7 days a week now.
Mm-hmm.
So we are able to accommodate, any day of the week. And, the schedules they kind of fluctuate and vary, but if you call and talk to our admin team, Jenny and Andrea, they will be able to set you up with a counselor that will be able to be that support for you.
We are keeping normal hours and our phones are being answered. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'd really love to be there for you.
And we are not bound by any geographical restrictions at all. We could provide those counseling services anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's one thing that's shifting, and it'll probably shift forever in our field.
Yeah,
is that we can do phone and virtual sessions now, just like we would face to face.
It might be a little difficult for you folks out there listening to us in the UK. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to ask our staff to shift their sleep schedule, I think.
Oh, we stay up pretty late.
So we want to thank you again so much for tuning in and joining us today on Couple Synergy. Our passion is in helping couples and people have happy and healthy relationships. And this podcast gives us a fun way of bringing our knowledge and expertise to you, our listeners.
And like we said before, it's the things not being said that hurt us so much more than things being said. So if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please download it and share it, and thank you for listening.
For all of you listening, please subscribe to our podcast and please leave us a review. It really gives us a lot of information so that we can fine-tune our topics for our listeners. And if you have any other questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please email us at contact@couplesynergy.com. For more information about Couple Synergy and our programs such as Relationship 101, the Couples Weekend Intensive that will hopefully be in October, and our premier program called Couple to Couple, look us up online at couplesynergy.com. Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.